What's up, guys? Xervean here. I'm not currently live, but just thought I would go ahead and make a video real quick reacting to this Asmongold take. My cousin sent me this Twitter post night before last, and my initial reaction was that, holy shit, this person's got entitlement issues. And I expected whenever I would watch Asmongold's response to it, that he would kind of treat it similar to how he treated these leftist TikTok girls that cry about having to work and they can't make a living wage and all this bullshit, which he basically made fun of them and laughed at them. But oddly enough, Asman had a little bit of a different take this time around. So let's go ahead and see what he says here.
So now you have people, and this is an old guy. For all you MAGA cultists who keep saying the market slump doesn't matter because 20 and 30-year-olds have plenty of time to make up the losses. Seriously, what's your answer to people who are retiring now who thought that they were good until your guy fucked it up? What's your answer? Tough shit?
Yeah, that is a big problem. Big problem. A lot of these people, they're nearing retirement. This really fucks them hard. And, to not have any empathy for that, I don't know, it's kind of a bad look, but I get it. I don't always have lots of empathy, and it's fine. Everybody has some empathy issues sometimes, I think. Let's go ahead and see what else he says.
Yes, my answer is tough shit. Just like your generation's answer to millennials and Zoomers who are unable to get a job, buy a home, and start a family and save for own retirement was tough shit.
So, Zoomers are in their teens and 20s now. They've got plenty of time to save for retirement and start a family. Unable to get a job, unemployment's 4%. None of this really makes any sense to me. Millennials are doing fine. I mean, I'm a millennial, and yeah.
This is your karmic reckoning, carefully curated from the moment you abandon the unwritten obligation every next generation has to leave the world in a better place. This is a very, very common sentiment from young people, that they have a huge resentment towards boomers and older people.
Very popular on the left.
For not relinquishing some degree of control over the economy or not making the economy better for them to grow up into, right? They fucked us, exactly. You stole our jobs, stole our houses, you stole our pensions, you stole our rents, you stole our futures, and you made the world indefinitely worse for us in every single way. Also, you could have a boost to your portfolio and spend historically unprecedented 20 years at the end of your entitled lives sitting on the beach in Florida.
This is just absurd. Stole our jobs. I don't know what jobs they're referring to. I assume they mean like factory jobs. There seems to be this crazy fantasy going on or going around online these days where it's like people have this like dream of like working in a factory their whole fucking lives. I'll tell you what, right after high school, I worked in a fucking factory for 2 days and it sucked. It sucked ass. Like it was horrible. Yeah, you don't want to work in a goddamn factory. Trust me on that. What happened was we sent manufacturing jobs overseas because it was way cheaper. This allowed us to become more specialized. And honestly, the people that got fucked over when we sent the jobs over was the boomers and the Gen X people. They're the ones that got fucked in like the 80s and shit. not the millennials and Zoomers. Millennials and Zoomers, they kind of brought up in the whole the new era, the new wave. So I just don't buy any of this. And you stole our houses. Well, I decided to go ahead and Google this and look what I found here. Look what I found. Gen Z ahead of millennials and their parents in owning their own homes. This is a Forbes.com article here, roughly referencing a study by Redfin. You guys can look up the study if you want. Roughly 30% of 25-year-olds in 2022, the oldest of the Gen Z, born 97 to 2013, owned their own home in 2022. Slightly higher percentage than the 28% of millennials, born between 81 and 96, who owned their homes at that age. So they're ahead of where millennials were at the same age. And they're ahead of where the 27% of Gen Xers were at that age. So things are definitely improving. This whole narrative is just simply wrong. So Gen Z is ahead of their parents' generation. Completely insane narrative. Doesn't line up with the data. And also, 54% of millennials owned houses as of 2023.
You know why millennials and Zoomers don't care about what's happening right
Oh yeah, and so another thing about this narrative about the houses that I forgot to mention, it's not the fault of the boomers. Like you can't just blame boomers. Like the culprits of this whole thing are like zoning laws restricting construction in new houses, corporate investors buying up properties. Leftists complain about this all the time, and of course, the biggest problem is that in times of inflation, wage growth does not grow proportionally to increases in inflation. Very huge problem, and we'll get back to that here in a second. We'll have more on that.
now. It's not because we think we'll make up for it later. It's because you've already accepted that we'll never make it up. This is a normal day for us. This has been our reality our entire fucking lives. LMAO. Welcome.
Wow, wow, wow. Poor me. This is just like some fucking doomer. Like get real. like if this was some leftist, you would be making fun of them. I mean, this is ridiculous. Um, this was never a narrative for Trump supporters, by the way, until like 2 weeks ago, like the last 2 weeks. Like I dare you to try to find me a single clip of any Trump supporter during the election that was saying they were going to vote for Trump so he would crash the fucking economy and get revenge for them from his evil fellow boomers. Like Trump is not trying to crash the economy to get revenge on his fellow boomers. It's just so absurd.
Enjoy, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, skip the avocado toast, and print off a few resumes.
Yeah, see, this idea that the boomers are just completely fucked, and I mean, it's just yeah, I don't know. Let's go ahead and continue.
That's right. That is exactly fucking right. It's crazy to me that people don't understand this. It really is. It's crazy that they don't get this. Yeah, they can learn to code. Exactly.
I did learn to code, actually.
And you're a terrible person? That doesn't change the fact that
I don't think Asmon's a terrible person. He usually I don't know. He usually has fairly well reasoned takes, but I'm not sure exactly why this take is appealing to him. I'm not quite sure on that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
They're still gonna do it.
Like this is all just like a very emotional kind of like rage filled take, like a very angry person, a very entitled person. I'm not sure why this take appeals to Asmongold.
You can use as much emotional blackmail as you want. You can try to guilt trip people as much as you want. You can try to use emotional language and appeal to people in that way as hard.
It's so funny that he's saying this because that's exactly what this person is doing. This entire argument is an appeal to emotion. There's not a single fucking like objective fact cited in this entire argument.
As you possibly can, but at the end of the day, tough shit. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Too bad, pussy. Sucks to suck. Rip bozo. Easy GG. You might not agree with the sentiment. You might think the sentiment is like wrong or destructive, and I think that's totally fair to feel that way. But in some ways, it's true. But
see, I actually don't think Asmongold agrees with this take at all. I don't know why he's kind of like leaning into it and kind of pushing it. It's just so strange to me. Like I've seen other guys pushing this, like the Quartering, Benny Johnson, guys like that. I just don't get it. Like this was never a thing. This was never a thing until like the last couple of weeks.
But if you don't understand it, it's a very big difference.
People voted for Trump to like fix the economy and make the stock market go up. That's why this is crazy.
You can understand something without agreeing with it. If you can't understand this and where this is coming from, you have left the realm of reality.
Yes, I understand where it's coming from. They feel entitled and they're angry. There's a lot of people like this, again, like Bernie Sanders supporters, not billionaires, I'm not millionaires, like this is Hassan's entire audience feels very similar to this.
You have. Millennials going to inherit the most wealth in world history from our parents. Yep, that's right. And yeah, they will care when prices skyrocket and people are paying $15 for a cup of coffee. People are already paying $15 for a cup of coffee. See, like you.
It's funny. He kind of just like debunked part of the argument right there. Yes, millennials are going to be fine. They're going to inherit a lot of wealth. And like, obviously, not all millennials aren't going to inherit a lot of wealth. I'm not going to inherit a lot of wealth, but some will for sure.
You can't make this like argument to fear of prices going higher. Do you know why you
Oh, I absolutely can, and I will.
can't do that? It's because it already happened. It already happened. So you can't go and say, oh, yeah, well, prices are going to get a lot higher. They just got higher in COVID, and we all did what you told us by wearing masks, taking the vaccine, and socially.
Okay, so first of all, this is highly fallacious reasoning. Just because something happened before doesn't mean it won't happen again and that it won't be far worse this time. The argument for prices going up is very simple. Unlike Trump would like to have you believe, a tariff is not a tax that another country pays. It is a tax on American companies. Whenever they import goods, they pay this tax at the port of entry. So, whenever the cost of goods that they're importing goes up significantly with these tariffs, they're going to have to raise the price of their goods. Now, these goods that they're importing are frequently what is referred to as economic capital, which can be defined as goods used to create other goods. And so when they sell these goods to other companies in the United States, or whenever the other companies order the goods from them, they're going to have to pay more money. So they're going to have to raise their prices too. And because with the increase in prices, consumers will not be able to consume at the same rate that they were before. They will consume less goods and services. As a result of that, companies will lose profit. They will miss their quarterly earnings reports. They will have to lay off workers. And you can see very quickly how this will spiral out of control. So, yeah, I mean, this is very, very simple, very, very based in economic research.
Distancing.
By the way, that's why every time Trump announces a tariff, the market crashes immediately because it's going into price discovery mode, anticipating many United States companies missing their future earnings reports. And whenever he lifts the tariffs, the market goes up. That's why the stock market has an instant feedback mechanism. Economics does not have, in most cases, an instant feedback mechanism. These changes will take probably 6 months to maybe over a year to fully manifest in reality. For instance, you bring up the example of COVID. During COVID, I was able to get a Cane's chicken box combo for $8.33. Prices didn't go up right away, but it took 6 months, a year, 2 years later. Now I'm paying $13 for the same product, the same meal. Economics is much slower moving. These people that are laughing as the world burns because the boomers are getting hurt. The boomers are going to be fine. Fucking goddamn Warren Buffett, he got out like 2 weeks before any of this shit happened. He's scot free. He's just waiting for the dust to settle. Like a lot of these guys, these guys, multimillionaire guys, like the Wall Street guys, they took like a 15% haircut, but they're gonna chill in treasury bonds and T-bills. They're just gonna fucking chill. And then when the market's done crashing and the dust is settled, the bottom of the recession, they're going to buy all this shit up and they're going to get fucking richer than they ever were before. And the wealth disparity is going to be greater at an all-time high. Like, that's just the way this shit works.
And then what's the reward for it? The price hikes for COVID stayed after COVID and they got worse.
Yeah, that's because the companies, whenever they're losing money, due to less consumption of goods and services, they simply they're not giving out raises. It's pretty simple. Yeah, so people are making the same amount of money, and everything costs more. So the poor people, they just get fucked. They get absolutely fucked. That's what's coming if Trump continues with this tariff plan.
And you expect people to just keep playing the ball? Absolutely not. Yeah, we did. Yes, a lot of people did. What are you talking about? We can't complain. Oh, people can complain. I'm just saying this is the way it happens, right? It's turning into a numb feeling. Yeah, the answer is at least you get to retire. I'll never retire. Us terrible people really don't care when somebody calls us terrible either. Exactly. And this is what's going to happen. Looks like the tables have turned. I'll read a few comments about this too, real quick. And skip to have a cost. Most realistic and hilarious thing I've read lately. Can't how many times you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and don't let your work boots get called. Literally every financial advisor tells you to move money out of stocks and into risky investments if you're near retirement. Yeah, of course. The Tunskin Rod, the motherfucker from Orbit. Yeah, their houses all went up in value over 5x in the last few years, and their stocks are already 5x from 2000. No one gives a shit. Yeah, exactly. And this is all why people can't afford food. And your retirement's not ruined because the market pulled back to the level it was 1 year ago. It's because you accepted we'll never make it up. Hit me so hard. Financial advisor asked me when I'd like to retire. Last year I laughed. Retirement, what's that? Was my response. Yeah, middle class.
I don't really have much to say about these comments. I'm just kind of waiting for the next big take that he has on this.
Screaming at the working class for not giving a shit about the middle class, a winning strategy. That's it. And so this is
This will disproportionately impact the middle class and the working class. But the working class is probably going to get hit. I mean, they're going to be in big fucking trouble.
This is what's going to continue happening, and I think that it will continue to get worse. And there it is. Those of us who invest in property and kids can retire poor, maybe.
As you think about it, even if Trump does get all these factories built, like these factories are not going to be able to effectively sell goods to other countries because of the reciprocal tariffs. And there's a reason why we moved these manufacturing facilities offshore. It's because it's way cheaper. You bring manufacturing facilities and you build new ones. Things are going to be extremely fucking expensive. And that, I mean, like, it just doesn't. What are people going to do? They're going to just work in these factories. I mean, they're not going to be making like 100K a year doing these low level jobs. Like, I mean, the working class people are going to get fucked. Like, their quality of life is going to go down substantially. They just don't see it coming yet because there's not an instant feedback mechanism.
For them, a house was inevitability. To us, it's a distant.
Hopefully, I'm explaining this stuff okay.
Dream. There are a lot of guys that are like my age because like I have a lot of friends obviously that are streamers, and the fact is like many of my friends are they have actually very good jobs now, but some of them not necessarily as much. And for the ones that I know that don't have as good of a jobs, like they can't even afford to buy a house in the neighborhood they grew up in. And I think this is a very, very common sentiment that a lot of people have in America now.
Yeah, again, I mean, it is a very common sentiment and it sucks. But I mean, a lot of these people that can't buy houses, I think I've even, I think I've even heard you say this before. A lot of these motherfuckers are in like New York or Los Angeles, and they go to fucking Oklahoma or some random town in Texas. They're probably gonna be able to afford a house or somewhere, just like a smaller town somewhere. And they might have to drive a ways to get into work, but that's just what you have to do. I mean, whenever you're trying to grow your wealth.
And how many of you guys have had like a
cities are expensive? But again, there's a lot of zoning laws. They don't want you building. There's a lot of restrictions placed on building new houses and where you can build new houses at, and a lot of these like hedge funds and stuff, or they're buying up a lot of houses, and there's been a lot of political debate about that recently. So it is what it is. But
similar.
This whole idea that you can just blame the boomers for everything, it's very, very oversimplified.
Paradigm, a similar phenomenon to this as well, right? Many people, right? And so poverty gets more expensive the longer it gets to you. Being poor is expensive. That's a really good point, and that's true
Yep.
too. A lot of my friends, Austin, Texas, received like a huge like housing like demand increase, right?
Hmm.
Because there's a lot of tech jobs here.
Yep.
People are moving here. It was
Yep. They fled in from California. Great point.
getting really popular, and so the price of housing like went up by like 2 or 3x in a matter of like less than 10 years.
Yeah, it's very true. So there's always this trade-off, right? Whenever you bring a lot of jobs to an area, the cost of housing is going to go up. That's the kind of the trade-off you make for lots of employment. Like people complain about not having jobs, but you know, if you bring in the jobs, the cost of housing is going to go up. So you kind of have to be almost in the right place at the right time, to be able to get the housing before the economy adjusts, because the houses don't go up overnight, but over the space of like a couple of years, they go up pretty rapidly when a lot of new companies start moving in.
And so all of these people that were going to be able to buy a house, now they have to live outside of Austin and drive in for like an hour to work.
Yeah, but if you want to build wealth in the form of real estate, I mean that's what you got to do. I mean, a lot of these motherfuckers in New York are riding the subway a couple hours or whatever, like, or like in I don't know if in New York they're riding a couple hours, but I know people I work with that live in Chicago area. Um, they they have very long commutes, multiple hour commutes, because they live in the suburbs outside of Chicago, because shit's fucking insanely expensive in Chicago. So
And they're pissed.
yeah.
They're really pissed. Welcome to class warfare, baby. I've been waiting for it. I'm over the race.
Hey, they could listen to Asmongold while they commute to the office, right?
Wars over oil and wars over other men's ideas. Class warfare is the one they've been distracting us from. Yes, I actually do think, and this is something I find it to be kind of ironic, because all of the all of the communists and all of the LARPers on social media have been talking about how much they want a revolution and a class war. Guys, I'm telling you, like, this absolutely, like, the stock market crashing and destroying the stock market is absolutely a class war.
Completely disagree with this. This is probably, I mean, this is kind of the reason I wanted to do this video. Like, I think this is maybe I don't know, maybe the most brain dead take that I've ever heard Asmongold give on his channel. Uh, the idea that Trump crashing the stock market is a class war where he's trying to fuck over his fellow boomers, so that the um, working class can get revenge is just insane. Donald Trump does not want to be known as the guy that fucking wrecked the economy. His ego is fucking huge. He just done nothing but brag about how great he is for the economy and the stock market. Now, you might say, well, why is he doing all this tariff stuff? It doesn't make any sense. Every time he announces a tariff, the stock market crashes. What other reason could it be? Well, I think, and there's no evidence for this right now, but I think Donald Trump, I think his entire cabinet, and I think his entire family need to get financially audited by the Security and Exchange Commission, because you have uh, significant motive, you have extreme opportunity, and you have a recurring pattern that is hard to ignore. With one word, this guy can crash or raise the stock market, like 5 to 8% in a day. The temptation there is substantial. I'm not saying that he's guilty. I'm just saying that I think there should be an audit. That's all I'm saying. And that's a much more reasonable explanation, I would say, to explain this activity, than saying that he's trying to destroy the economy and his fellow boomers, um, in a class warfare. I mean, it's absurd. Um, you know, it's just it's crazy. Of course, the other alternative explanation is simply that he thinks tariffs. He really doesn't understand tariffs. That he's not actually lying to the American citizens every time he gives a speech about what a tariff is, or a trade deficit, which he doesn't know what a trade deficit is. All a trade deficit means is you're buying more products from another country than they're buying from you. In the case of America, a lot of these countries, they have poor economies. They're not able to buy as much from us as we can from them, and we need the stuff they have. So we buy it. We buy lots of it because we need it for our businesses. It's very simple. Trade deficits aren't bad. Crazy. And then these countries, yeah. So it's possible he just has a complete misunderstanding of economics. Yeah. So that's also a possible explanation. But I think the least likely explanation, and he's just attempting to destroy the economy to make his voter base happy, because the entire voter base has said nothing since 2015 except how great Trump is for the economy and how they vote for Trump because of the economy and because of the stock market. I've never heard somebody, a MAGA person, a Trump supporter, one of these libertarians that vote for Trump. I've never heard any of them say anything different to the contrary of Trump being great for the economy.
It 100% is a class war. Like, people that have these stocks and all their money is invested in this shit, this will massively disproportionately affect them. And yes, it will have trickle-down negative effects, but these people
will have a lot of trickle-down negative effects. You have to ask yourself, why are the prices of these stocks going down? They're anticipating future losses of revenue for so many companies in America, just like almost every company in America. You know what I'm saying? Almost every. Like, it could be disastrous if he continues with these blanket tariffs. I know he has them on pause now for 90 days, so we'll see what happens.
People will fall way farther than you will, because really a lot of the people that are
absolutely not true. Wealthy people have their money well diversified. They don't have it all in stocks. They're gonna take a painful haircut, but they got more money. They're making more money. They're going to buy the dip. They'll be fine. They're rich. They can move assets around, buy more after the market's done crashing. Like I said before, I believe the wealth disparity gap will increase significantly through this event. The poor people will suffer the worst because it's going to be very difficult to increase wages. Very difficult to increase wages when companies are losing money.
Falling that far, or they aren't going to fall that far, it's because they can't. They're already too close to the bottom to begin with. That's it. So does trickle-down economics work or not? I mean, it does and it doesn't. It depends on the situation, right? What does your stock portfolio look like? Probably a lot of minuses and a lot of red. I haven't asked, I haven't called, I haven't checked. And
see, this is an interesting irony of this video, is that he's so fucking rich and he makes so much money that he doesn't even give a fuck about his own portfolio. And he thinks that everybody should kind of have the same feeling. Money's not that big of a deal. Blah 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 blah. Well, a lot of these boomers are, they're not rich. A lot of them are not rich, and this is quite disastrous for them. But Asmongold's, he's so wealthy. I think that's a good thing that he's wealthy. But like, he has to realize that he's in a very, very privileged position to just be like, oh yeah, I don't give a fuck. I hope it goes to zero. I don't give a shit. I'll just buy more later.
I'm going to do the old, I did this with my teeth. I ignored my teeth. They went away. And I'm going to ignore my stocks, and they'll probably go away too. So that's really the solution. Yep, just don't look at it. Don't think about it. I'll come back. I remember during COVID, I just did, like, for the year that COVID was like making the markets go down.
I mean, there's a lot of truth to what he says. He could just ignore it, and when the next president gets in, they're going to reverse all the tariffs, most likely. I would expect if Trump does follow through on all the tariffs, most likely a Democrat's going to win next time. And then the first day that they get into office, they're going to write executive orders to reverse all the tariffs. So and the market's going to go crazy, and he'll just regain all of his money. Yeah, that's another reason these boomers are just gonna buy all the way down. I mean, every time it crashes, they're probably gonna buy some more, and they're gonna make a ton of fucking money.
I just didn't read my reports. Yeah, I just didn't read them. And like I saw them, I was like, okay, wow, well, that's damn. Well, that's the way it is. So yeah, I just don't think about it. Yeah, just wait 5 years.
So that's the benefit of being rich, though, and making a lot of money, being a high earner, having money and savings diversified. You can withstand. You can stand to just not touch the money that you have in the stock market, and you can just wait this whole disaster out. But a lot of people, the poor people, the working class that he keeps referring to, that he thinks are can't fall anymore because they're at the bottom. Well, they could always become homeless. Like that's also a possibility. It doesn't seem to be considering. Like their quality of living can go down substantially.
Exactly. And also, like, for me, this is the fact is, like, I never really plan on quitting working, right? Like, I don't ever want to retire. Like, I mean, I could retire now. Like, why would I want to retire? I like doing what I do. And so, like, for me, yeah, I'm totally out on that. So yeah, we've been distracted for too long. The tactics are getting weaker and weaker. It's becoming impossible to not notice who the ones fucking us over are. Yeah, I think that's very true. And so anyway, yeah, this is friendship with culture.
Yeah, see, this kind of bugs me, and he's kind of like he's leading his audience on this journey of this narrative, and it's not a very good narrative to be leading people on. And I don't think Asmongold even really believes it. I mean, he even admitted earlier in this video that it's probably not true or something to that effect. I just don't know. I don't know why he's pushing this. It's so strange. It's just so strange. And I'm guessing my guess would be that if Trump just drops the tariffs, um, says he come up with all these deals, you'll never hear this narrative again from Asmongold, or other creators like Benny Johnson or the Quartering, or whoever's like, oh, you could lose money. Money's, what did Benny Johnson say? Losing money builds character. It's just ones and zeros. Doesn't matter.
Culture wars ended. Generation war is my new best friend. Well, this is just another version of the culture war, but it's a much closer shade of color, closer to a class warfare than people complaining about, like, trans or something like that, right? And we millennials have already lived through 3 once-in-a-generation worldwide economic crises and several other once-in-a-generation canonic events. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. And so if you're 60, you're probably investing in S&P was at 300, not 4,800. I'm in my 20s. I'm extremely happy the market is down. Now I can buy stocks and sales. It's a once-in-a-lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of people are happy about this. I would caution getting into it now. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm kind of just chilling for now, personally. I do have my Bitcoin, of course, but um, yeah, just kind of chilling, waiting to see what happens. Trump is so erratic right now that you really can't predict what's going to happen at this point.
Time opportunity for us. Yeah, I think so too. And
But if you're in a financial position where you can, just invest money and not touch it for many years, then it's probably decent. But I would recommend dollar cost averaging in, not putting all of it in like one lump sum. If you're gonna do anything, of course, I'm not giving financial advice. Blah blah blah.
I think that's the way a lot of guys feel. What could a boomer's done to appraise them? Logically give them their money, change the government to make houses cheaper? I don't understand what they're mad about. Or are they just being mad? I think that there's a lot of things. I feel like a big component to it is that boomers did not really move out of the job markets in ways that allowed millennials to gain upward mobility in.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think the percentage of millennial CEOs is pretty low. Maybe it's like quite a bit higher in like Silicon Valley area, but yeah, I think in general. But kind of a defeater for this overall argument is, I mean, eventually these fucking boomers are going to die or just retire. They're eventually going to retire, and then the millennials will be the ones running shit. So you just have to be patient. I mean, that's just the way things are. People are going to die, and they're going to eventually have to fucking retire. Which, by the way, also, now that I think about it, this whole narrative of them, living out their last 20 years in Florida on the beach kind of conflicts with the idea that they never left their jobs and didn't retire. But yeah, that's another interesting bit of a conflict there. But I think in general, I definitely agree with what Asmongold is saying here. Um, yeah, they're working a very long time. Like, I mean, Trump was still fucking going in like his 70s or whatever, right? So
different types of corporate structures and different types of business structures. So basically, like the power didn't really change hands in the way that I think that people grew up and expected it to. And some of the reasons for that are, I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons, right? You have, science and medicine is better now, so people are able to work longer. You have the fact that maybe they didn't have enough money to retire. Like, there's a lot of reasons for why.
oh, that's a very interesting point he just brings up there. They may not have enough money to retire, so all these boomers aren't actually rich. Very good point. Yeah, I feel like a lot of this, especially the original posters argument. I mean, they're kind of making the same kind of crazy mistake that like Kanye West or like the Kanye West style argument. Where he blames the Jews for everything instead of like picking specific people responsible for the problems in the music industry that he has issues with. And I think this original poster is kind of making the same type of failure in reasoning. This is the same problem here, or the same mistake here, by saying just boomers in general are to blame for all this stuff instead of specific individuals that she has some grievance with, if she even has a specific individual at all. But it's definitely not an entire generation. Like, I don't know. It's just so crazy. It's a crazy argument. Anyways, I think that will do it for this video. And hopefully you enjoyed it. Give me a like and a subscribe. Just getting started on YouTube. Thanks. Peace.